Hello! Shoyan here. I'm a carpenter based in Japan. Today, I'm building a 1.5 meter by 6 meter woodshed, accessible from both sides. I continue building the woodshed, for which I cut the parts last time. Though it's a woodshed, the shape is not like a shed. As you can see from the shape of the foundation, it will be unique. The shape is like a Japanese-style gate, and will be used to store firewood. Now, let's start with the sill. The sill is 12 cm wide, but I intentionally used narrower 10 cm wide foundation. Generally, foundation is 15 cm wide if the sill is 12 cm wide. I'm going to allow the sill to protrude a little so that it looks sturdy and stylish. If the building is exposed to rain like this, a wider foundation can slow down wood corrosion. Water will not accumulate on the foundation. It will drip down. In the initial plan, the foundations on the shorter side, which looks like a branch, were to be spaced 1 meter apart. Eventually, only 3 foundations were used on the shorter side as 2 meters intervals. A firm concrete slab like this is unnecessary with this type of foundation. Gravel could be used instead of a concrete slab if it is set at the same height. The firewood won't get wet and can dry well. The foundation in the shorter direction was less than planned, but it is a firm foundation with a concrete slab. Anchor bolts seems to be used here more than is necessary. This is my fault. I didn't let the concrete engineer know about the plan in the first place, so the anchor bolts were set at the normal lengths. This time, I'm going to install the slabs on the sills. As I'm going to counterbore the sills, it would have been better if the anchor bolts were slightly lower than the sill top. I didn't communicate that well. Now I start installing the sills. Since I cut the dovetails by hand, they join snugly. Especially in a situation like this, pre-cut dovetails are rickety in shape and don't fit snugly. Hand-cut dovetails are a little tight, but they fit well when joined. I tighten the anchor bolts while checking that sills are straight. It's important to measure precisely before securing the sills if they aren't connected in 4 corners. Even though it's just a woodshed, the sill is a base and it's important. I measure the size accurately and secure it firmly. I cut the anchor bolts with a grinder. It's a little tricky to cut them after the sills are installed. Usually, I only cut 1 or 2 anchor bolts per house, but this is my first time cutting them all. When cutting metal on a concrete slab, I make sure to clean up well afterward. If I don't, When it rains, the metal powder will rust, and the concrete slab will turn red. So the cleanup should never be omitted. I caulk the counterbore firmly, proud of the surface. This prevents water from accumulating. Next, I drill a hole for a plug in each dovetail end, since I didn't drill them initially. This number of holes is easy to drill on site. Now I install the columns. There will be just one row of columns in the center, and none on the sides. On the 4 places where the sill is installed in the short direction, diagonal braces will be installed. The shed is firmly supported on both sides by them. Rather than forcing to join the diagonal braces with a mallet, I loosen the column so it can be installed easily. After the braces are tightly joined to the column, I put it back in place. If you forcefully join the diagonal braces, they won't fit tightly. That's why I install them this way. For the area that can't be plugged, I use hardware to secure the column and the sill. I float the hardware about 4mm and secure it with screws downward. The column will be pulled towards the sill. Next, I install the ridge beam, the only horizontal frame on top. In the center, the 2 pieces will be joined. Next, I install the supports for the firewood shelves. To install this support, I simply penetrate the column and plug it into the center. There will be slats on this. Next, I install the girder supports on the top. It's called udegi in Japanese. In the same way, I penetrate them and plug them in the center. When a part penetrates the column, it won't fit if it's too tight, and it will rattle if it's too loose. We set planks across a few stepladders as scaffolding so that we can install the girder supports. This was dangerous since we needed to press them. Scaffolding would have been helpful, but it's difficult to prepare scaffolding for a small building this size. On top, I wedge the girder supports to secure them firmly. These wedges can be retightened if they come loose. Next, I install the girders. The timber is small. I secure it to the support from the top with 180mm screws called tower kick. An end-to-end scarf joint cut diagonally is used for the girder. 2 girders can be screwed together on the support. I check that the columns are installed vertically before installing the roof. Many tie beams will be in the middle columns to hold the firewood. Each tie beam also serves as a diagonal brace to fix the column vertically. I'm going to install the diagonal braces while checking that the columns are vertical. There's nothing better than being sturdy. I also secure the diagonal braces from the front using long tower kick screws. Even when exposed to rain, this screw resists rusting. Now that the building is securely fastened, I start installing the roof. First, I install the barge boards on both sides. I use stainless steel nails from the front. Screws can also be used, but nails look better. There will be a Phillips set on the front if screws are used. That's not my cup of tea. Next, I install the roofing boards. I directly install them above the ridge beam, girders, and barge boards. Rafters are not used. The roofing boards are 20mm 6-seater, and both sides are planed. No metal plates or other roofing materials will be on these roofing boards. I secure the roof boards with screws instead of nails. Since the girders are cedar and therefore soft, the roof board may fly off in the wind. That's why this part should be fixed firmly with screws. After installing the roof boards, I draw lines and determine the location of the eaves end. Cutting the roof boards before installation may result in an uneven alignment, so it's best to cut them after installation. I made the roof boards a little longer than planned, so the ends are not neatly aligned. For this reason, I used 4cm square timber between the girder and the eaves end. By installing this, the eaves end becomes stronger and is firmly fixed. It makes the roof boards neatly aligned and straight. Next, I place the exposed ridge beam on the top of the roof boards. This is used as a decoration, but it also holds the roof boards. By holding the roof boards, the boards won't shift and rain will not enter. It looks cool and is a nice decorative element. Finally, I install the battens along the roof board seams. In the case of a wall, it is called batten, meita in Japanese. When it comes to roof boards, I'm not sure if batten is the right name. Anyway, I will call it batten and install them. For battens, I use short stainless steel nails. 2 nails are needed per location when securing battens. So there will be 2 nails, 2 nails, and 2 nails. If they were fastened with 6 screws, this thin batten could break. Even though it's not visible on the roof, it's somewhat time-consuming to carefully drive in 2 screws on each part. Now that the roof is built, the next step is to build the shelves for the firewood. First, I work from the bottom. I secure the shelf support on the front of the sill. It is a 45mm thick, 120mm wide, and 2m long stud. It'd be sturdier if a foundation existed between every 2m spacing. Since I'm installing the slats longitudinally, I install the beam in the center. The wood is an ordinary 45mm by 60mm joist rafter. I will install the slats longitudinally after installing the beams. Next, I set a plastic post in the center of the beam spaced 2 meters apart, as installed earlier. Setting this will serve as a foundation, and it won't sink. Now, I install the slats. They are 24mm, which is quite thick. The spacing might be narrow, and I don't think this much slat is necessary. Anyway, I install them while aligning the spacing. The shed was supposed to be completed after installing the slats, but I felt the higher shelf needed reinforcement. Since I had some extra 4cm square wood, I made angle braces from it. I installed them on the diagonal braces to support the shelf. Though it's thin, it has still become sturdier. I have finished building the large woodshed. 2 3-ton trucks of firewood fit in this woodshed. It's too big and looks like a building for another purpose. But it's become a splendid woodshed. It can be fully stocked. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.